Hey, hey. This is me going through the Q&A from a bit over 2 weeks ago. As you can see by the scroll bar, it's a bit longer, so you better get a cup of tea or something, or watch it in parts. It's gonna be a bit longer. First things first, I did copy paste everything over from the Discord to OpenOffice Writer. It took quite some time. It was rather annoying because in the Discord, very often I had to just scroll up and down and up and down, and it was rather annoying to see what question actually belongs to which answer and so on. So, sometimes, especially NQ Wave actually did that, they posted the question. So that's quite nice if at some points they just reposted the questions and then answered it. Made it so much easier. Some others didn't. So happy Wave to Wave, who I think is the only one who consistently did it. Sorry if I missed someone. So yeah. The other thing is I may use some expletives from time to time. But then again, you're watching a naked German talking about computer games right now, so I think you've seen and heard quite a lot of things already on the internet. So let's go into it. Also, if I'm mispronouncing a name here, it's because people choose shitty to pronounce names. Just saying. Rotami. Right now, the new player experience is bad. Is it by design that new players have to farm surface rocks to the extent it is at right now? Sesh, we are working on a brand new first-time user experience. Yeah, we know, it's on the roadmap. It's been there for like half a year. It is on the roadmap. Yeah, we know, it's on the roadmap. But will be released next year. Yeah, we know, it's on the roadmap. It will be more adapted to the recent changes to the game. So he didn't answer the question anyway. Is it by the design that new players have to farm surface rocks to the extent it is at right now? That was the question. Why didn't you answer it? Okay, so instead he tells us what we already know, which is that there is going to be a brand new first-time user experience next year. He also tells us it's on the roadmap, which we know, because it's on the roadmap, which we see every time we log in. So, thanks for being pointless. Good, next. Veox. Lower tier ore prices appear to be plummeting. Is NQ monitoring prices? Do you think it is related to the huge increase in availability of asteroids and the tier 1, tier 3, tier 1, 2, tier 3 ore in the safe zone? Yes, we are monitoring prices. We expected variations around the ore price since the balancing has changed a lot in Demeter with the removal of underground mining and the addition of MUs. We will definitely look at the evolution of markets in the coming weeks and months and decide if this is bad or good news. So, the question was, do you think it is related to the huge increase of availability? And by the way, no, it isn't. It's the deflation. The amount of ore is the same as before. We got a massive deflation. We also have some people who were hamstering ore quite a lot, expecting ore to be more scarce, which then didn't happen. It was about as much as before. Deflation started due to the large amount of quanta going out of the system. So prices did go down. The moment prices go down, people who are holding something that they want to sell in a deflation, they rush even more to selling it, even though that accelerates the deflation. But for the individual, it does make sense to sell something before it's worth even less. So, there you have your answer. That Wave didn't give. Alias. What do you want those people, especially miners, who are mining under Earth for hours and hours a day, they had fun I would guess, to do now when only passive mining is available, excluding asteroids because of the effort and low outcome? What do you do with the older players who are not active for some weeks, right now and for the future in beta, or even out of beta, where they all just lose their complete properties, what they build up in hundreds of hours of work? By the way, all the devs, great spelling across the board. So, hey, props for that. I'm going to give you a lot of shit here. But no, that's very lovely formatting and spelling otherwise. Entropy, we understand for those people that were mining along the underground, we took away a significant amount of your playtime. Unfortunately, we made this decision for reasons outside of pure game design concerns. While you specify that asteroid mining is potentially an activity that you may not want to engage in, that is for now the best option if you're looking to rapidly access ore. In the future, we add more mining activities or expand on mining in general. For the people that are not currently active in-game, we have tried to communicate in advance that things are changing with the expansion. There's something that they may want to look at. Unfortunately, we cannot permanently pause these sort of updates. Another thing to remember is if a player opts out of being informed about the new stuff, then he's opted out of it. So if Enki then sends an email in regards to, hey, we just want to let you know, no, the person opted out. The person doesn't want to receive any emails, so he's not going to receive any emails. End of story. Quite understandable, actually, there. Can't make an exception. Well, I know they don't want to have a message pass anymore, but we thought this time we should tell... No. If you opted out of emails, you opted out of emails. Anyway, so the actual question was, what do you do with older players who are not active for some weeks? Well, you can only email them, and after that, that's done. So that's actually a question that was properly answered. Woo! It's going to be rare, so take this one. Great. Actually, HT Palm, harvesting all stones that are spawned after calibration mining units, require players to hold the left mouse button. A lot. For some players, it's called wrist and a finger pain and discomfort. Could surface and boredom. Could surface ore harvesting be made more ergonomic? Mining tool had an auto mine mode, toggled with the middle mouse button. Perhaps a harvest tool, could they have this mode too? We are probably already working on a solution to make harvesting more ergonomic. Dude, you just have to, have it on middle mouse button. I mean, I just have a hold left mouse button macro on my mouse. Well, they're working on it. Good. Well, what else can I ask for? What do you do with the older players who are not active for some weeks right now? Did I just answer that? Maybe I pasted it twice. My mistake. As for the second point, inactive players will lose ownership of the territories as a grace period. Oh no, he's just answering it again. Oh yeah, entropy answered is it now Sesh is answering it as well. As for the second point, yeah, inactive players will lose ownership of the territories. There's a grace period of about 4 weeks after Demeter. They want to come back. We are planning to send emails to players, but I don't think we can send emails to inactive players who opted out. Oh, shit happens. Grace period of 4 weeks. Well, still paid for 2 weeks and then 2 weeks inactive, yeah. Slow Droid. What aspects did you consider when setting the tax value of 1 million quanta per week? Wait, the tax is balanced mainly in regard to the amount of ore you can mine from a tile and how much quanta you are sure to get if you sell the ore, even to bots. A tile is always worth... No! As long as you can maintain the money... Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, well, as long as you keep the calibration. Yes, sorry. A random low-quality tile gives 500 liters per hour of tier 1. That sells for 500 times 24 hours times 7 days a week times 24 quanta per liters equals 2 million a week. Not counting adjacent bonus, quality of tile, extracting rocks, tile... Wait a moment. Wait. He says, not counting adjacency bonus, quality of tile, extracting rocks, talents, etc. First of all, what do you mean by etc.? It's very important always when you list a few things, a few arguments, that you list all arguments and then at the end write etc. as if there was more. There isn't. Good. Adjacency bonus. I don't know what kind of huge adjacency bonus casuals have. Also, you get a bit of... okay, so not counting adjacency bonus, alright. Quality of the tile. Well, you did actually specify the quality of the tile. 500 liters per hour total. That's a normal Alioth tile. I think it's quite normal to have a normal Alioth tile. Extracting rocks, yeah. Talents, yeah, wait, actually, yeah, there are talents in there, that's the issue. If you don't have talents, you actually only get 90% of that because of the 90% efficiency. So a random low quality tile gives 500 liters, which then, of course, translates to 450 liters. Also, if you don't have talents, you need 1 mining unit per 100 liters. But given that something may have 90 liters and the other 110 liters, you don't actually usually get all the... You don't have it all covered, the 500. If you don't have talents and you have a tile with 125 ore each, That will mean you place one mining unit for the coal, 100 litres, and then you place another one for the leftover 25 litres, and keep that as well. So, I don't know, on most random Alioth tiles, you would, without talents, need something like 6 or up to 8 mining units to actually get the full 500 litres. So you probably actually only go for 400 litres, of which you then get 90% because you don't have the efficiency buff from the handling, because we're talking about without talents. Also, he doesn't have the calibration in there, so his math even then only works out if you were to keep them at 100% calibration. So, the math he's putting there is... he's doing it with some amount of talents, so you've got 100% efficiency instead of 90. He's keeping them 100% calibrated at all times, which means you have to log in every 2 days to calibrate them all. And you better then have your... you can't really use your calibrations and other stuff there. So yeah, if you log in every 2 days to keep them fully calibrated, and you have some of the talents, then you would actually get 2 million Quanta a week. Woo! And bonus for collecting the rocks, which kills your wrist. So yeah, this math here, it doesn't check out. The math is wrong, sorry. Or what he says here with the extracting, with the talents and stuff. It just doesn't work out like that, I'm sorry. You don't get 2 million of a normal shit tile. Good. Will the Foundation created the new surface mechanics will be extended to other mechanics that we're known, such as space anomaly farming, or will it take a different shape? Certainly, yes. The Matrix mechanic will be prolonged in the features to come. This will be another topic. Space anomaly farming confirmed now, or what? Sounded a bit like go away. Sure, some point in the future we'll have that. What was the goal of VR limitation for Orthalia missions? Good question. Actually, it gives a huge advantage to multi-account players that just lock Alt when ship arrive or on the mission spot, versus solo player, team player, which used a ship together as a group. There's a couple of things to answer here. Hello, Entropy. On the subject of Alt, it has to be understood that it's very complex to differentiate players from Alts. Well, you don't need to. We strive for our system to be resistant to abuse in general, no you don't, and make no real difference between players and Alts. If something can be an issue with Alts, then it's potentially an issue with players. I'll come to that in a moment. As to the change specifically, this was a global change because mission rewards were initially balanced around what a single player was able to achieve. We knew it was possible to group up multiple packages, but underestimated the outcome, especially with the free beta keys. While Alts exposed the issue to an extent, we also didn't love the idea of people regularly VRing around the universe to pick up and deposit missions while actively doing other activities. It felt a little cheap and easy. If you have strong feelings about needing VR missions the way they were before, I'm happy to hear that as well, but keep in mind that it's likely that any measures taken to hurt Alts will also hurt players. Well, there's one very big thing, difference between Alts and actual active players. Now, you don't have to try to attack the fact that they are an alt account, per se. No need to do that, okay? You don't need to try to find out who's an alt account, you don't have to track IPs or anything like that. One big difference, especially in regards to missions, is if I and Johnny were to do a mission together, then I start piloting the ship, Johnny comes over, sits on my ship, then I fly to the starting point of the mission. Johnny takes the mission, I take the mission, and then I fly over to the destination, to point B, which takes, whatever, 5 hours. The problem are only the long distance missions. We're not talking about bringing something from District A to District B. It's really only about those multi-hour missions. Now, whether Johnny is an alt account or a real player, so far didn't make a difference. But here comes the interesting part. As long as Johnny is on the ship, he is, now pay attention, on the ship. Which means he can't do anything else. He can't actually actively play. I mean, he could do tutorials via VR, or sit on board and program screens and do lure stuff, but at the end of the day, whoever is sitting on that ship doing that mission can't actually play in that time. Good. Now, if Johnny was actually my alt account, then there's no problem, because I lock my alt account out on the ship, fly, and then I lock through my different alt accounts and get the money. There's no problem with that. But if the other character that was on board is actually not an alt account, but an actual player, it would mean the person gets on board, starts the mission, and then is locked out of his character, essentially, for 5 hours. He can't play in that time. And after those 5 hours, he would then have to, you know, turn the mission in, and after that, he's not locked to standing on the ship anymore. So there is the difference. You don't have to look who is an alt account and who isn't. But the moment there are any kind of things you can do on a per character basis, and while you do them you can't do anything else, obviously that is a thing where alt accounts benefit and players don't. Same with all of those talents which are completely passive. Like, I've got 3 characters which are only for refining and smelting skills. It's nothing a player would want to do. Just do nothing all day long, but I don't know, a year ago they started some refiners which now benefit from them gathering more and more talent points. So again, you don't have to punish alt accounts, but you should do something against having a benefit of just having more accounts which don't actually need to actively do something. The moment a character gets money for waiting, that's something where alt accounts benefit and players don't really benefit, or not as much, or whatever. So, you see, you don't have to look for the alt account, you have to look for advantages that are being gotten by having more accounts, or rewards on a per account basis. You know how if the only way to make money was a daily lock-in bonus of 5 million, let's say, yeah, that would hit alt accounts and normal characters in exactly the same way. But if there's no way to actively gain money, and only you get money per account, it would mean that people with lots of alt accounts have a bigger benefit. Get the idea? So, the more things only give you a benefit while you actually do them, and the less benefit you have from having an account and existing, the better the balance gets. Alright, so, thanks for saying nothing, Entropy. With all the new mining units coming in with Demeter, can we see the nebula removed? Oh, by the way, I love the question. Johnny Taser, absolute props to you. Great one. So, because the thing is, it's only for Demeter related questions here. So, listen to this question. It's great. With all the new mining units coming in with Demeter, not even spelled right, when can we see the nebula removed and more space skybox returned like the one in Alpha? A majority agrees the nebula looks like a college intern did it in between bong rips. Thank you for your time. So, great Demeter related questions. With all the mining units coming in with Demeter, when can we see the nebula removed? Great. Ooh, it worked. We do have plans to change the nebula. Yes, as it is too green in particular. Actually, it's too opaque. Oh, could it be more clear? As in, could it be less there? Could the nebula be less nebula? We hope to make a better one. No, we don't want a better one. We just don't want one. We hope to make a better one. Oh, no! We won't go back to the one in Alpha. The idea is to make a more neutral one, since it gives the color to space and night. Now, we don't want a better one. We want to have a less one. Please, less nebula. Creator, can we Magic Blueprint soft wipe Alioth? What? Best times are mostly unused by people no longer playing. Can we make it where Sanctuary to you can be moved? Rather interesting, never thought about it. Make Sanctuary tile resources uniform or identical of every tier 1 resource pool. Alright. Taxes and territory becoming unclaimed should fix that. Well, it won't. Because now we got the headquarters. Don't get me wrong though, I think the auto headquarter thing was a good idea. However, the auto headquarter thing means that this answer here is not relevant anymore. Just say. But maybe he didn't know that at that time. I don't know. TU be moved. Not right now. If it becomes necessary, it's something we could look at. You're not going to look at it. It won't become necessary. It just would be kind of nice. Alternatively, you know what would be cool? If they just moved the markets. Oh, there's a huge empty spot where nobody claimed anything. Put the market there. Remove the market over there. Alright, could be fun. Just move the markets. We're looking at it's probably something we'll do as soon as possible. Oh yeah, they did that already at this point. Wizards, over the forum. The only forum guy, I think. No, Habitant as well. Will there be an ability to group territories and pay taxes for a group at once? Oh, that would be sweet. It's very annoying to deposit quanta for each territory when you have a lot of them. Yeah, especially because it's so weirdly buggy. Like, loads of my territories are paid multiple times and then only... Okay. Yes, this could be a quality of life improvement. Yeah, it could be. We know. I mean, if somebody says that this would be a nice quality of life improvement, then this is correct. This could be quality of life improvement. Thanks for pointing it out. We can consider for the future. Yeah, you can. I guess. Who knows? But there's no set date for that. Oh no, now he's getting vague. Wizard, still on the forum. Can we have an option to not publicly display territory names to other players? I have a lot of territories claimed for auto mining and I want them to be organized in my tax screen. But I don't want to let other people know what I have on my territories by clicking on it on the map and seeing a territory name. Same as above. It could be something that we add in the future. And we understand it would add quality of life in your case. But we wouldn't be able to give you an exact date or even an approximate time frame. What is the difference between an exact date or time? Doesn't matter. So yeah, they could do it. Maybe. They don't know. Opux, a long wall of text before he starts with some questions. How do you feel about the current balance of weapon size and core size? Not satisfactory, something you want to improve and give smaller ships more purpose. Oh, they actually state that they're unhappy about something. That's rare. Well, the current balancing process, have you considered consulting members in the community who are active in the area? I read most feedback that comes my way. I see. How can we make that feedback come your way if you read most of it? And I had read most of this earlier, as I assumed you had posted it somewhere. Ah, the wad of text that I didn't write. Okay, so... He doesn't answer, however, what is the current balancing process? That isn't answered. And have you considered consulting members of the community? He doesn't answer that. Okay. Next, have you considered making weapons different beyond just numbers? Like lasers do extra damage to shields, but less to core stress. Railguns punch long, small holes through ships instead of just being another slightly different sized sphere. Yeah, we considered it. We think there's larger problems before we attack that. We have to pick and choose what to do first. So, yeah, they've thought about it. Given the main barrier for using other weapon sizes range, have you considered making the range of all size of weapons the same, or nearly the same, with only cone, tracking damage, cross-section, hit ratio changing between sizes? A railgun should pretty much always outrange a cannon. It shouldn't matter how big or small they are, the scales we deal with within the game. It should bring the cost of building an entry-level PvP ship down immensely, and much more people would be willing and able to take part. Well, I doubt the last part, but nobody asked for my opinion on this one. Yes, there's something we've considered. It's definitely an avenue we continue to have difficulty making smaller ships and weapons useful. We just have to have a good global view of how that will work. Okay. 4 rails, please, isn't a question. Current fitting requirement makes no sense. I'll look into it. I don't know. Is anybody smarter now after having read those answers? Stream Sniper, would you consider allowing the minor calibration efficiency talent to work through VR? MU calibrations are turning out to suck all the life out of the game. Turn into a second job. The design of surrogates is that there's a trade-off between doing stuff in person and doing it through surrogates. The trade-off handled by the fact that surrogates don't have talents. It applies to PvP, mining units, industries, piloting, etc. We know. We do play the game. But thanks for telling me things we already know. Really? You don't have talents in surrogate? Tell me more. Note that mining unit calibration can be done by other players, and you can organize yourself with the organization of your friends, and you don't have to traverse the universe to calibrate your mining units. Yeah, we know. We know. We know. Through RDMS, you can calibrate other people's mining units. We expect organizations and groups of players to trade those calibration charges. Yeah, so do we. We know. What? So the short, what you're trying to say is no. Wave. The answer you're trying to say is no. I mean, thanks for explaining the game to us. We knew that already, though. But at the end of the day, what he's trying to just say is no. They don't consider it. And even if you had written, we might consider it, which would be more of an entropy thing. I don't know. So, no answer. I can just as well delete that. Mr. So, though, by the way, I've got the, you now may hear, I actually have the DU music active in the background. I never heard it before, it's quite interesting. Okay, so, there's confusion about requisitioning cores on abandoned tiles. Can dynamic cores be requisitioned on tiles to become abandoned, or is it just static cores? Can you create a new user interface screen that can list all owned MUs in a list that shows their performance, like you did with tiles and tags, so you can see at a glance which MUs need calibrating? To clarify, only static construct can be requisitioned, and only if the territory owner does not own the static construct. By the way, if somebody's a bit confused why that question comes up, it actually came up before and wasn't answered in the video QA. It's lovely how they asked the question, can dynamic core... the question didn't get answered. They did talk about it a lot, but they didn't, talk about this. So, obviously, that's where the confusion is coming from. Now, so, dynamic cores are safe. No matter where they are, they're safe. Just don't use statics anymore. Has the new voxel tech had the desired impact in terms of COX? I'm sure that's how you pronounce that. So, have you desired any amount of impact of COX? And should we expect more investment in this space? Oh yeah, fill all the space with COX. Oh yeah! The DB size is very significantly reduced and the core set goes with it. So yeah, it achieved its goal, indeed. So why is the performance shittier? Is it because you can now just have less server power than before and pay less for server power than before, while keeping the same, shit level in server performance? Probably. Coriander, was the limiting of VR missions the first step in the revamp of Orthalia missions? Oh, please, yeah. Currently, the missions are abused by people with idle accounts to generate billions of quanta, mostly due to the predictability and static nature. Will those missions ever be made dynamic or changed in such a way that they are generated procedurally? We think we already replied to this question higher up. If not, please let us know how it wasn't answered. I don't know if Coriander was actually writing again. If he did, I wonder if that got an answer. That's the problem with those Q&A sessions. If the dev misunderstands your question or something like that, then yeah, you only had one chance. Sorry, mate. That's also why a lot of the questions are prefaced by a long amount of text, then comes the actual question, and then more detailed to the question. It's very understandable that the users do that, users including me, because if you just write a question, you get the wrong answer. It's easier to deflect your question. Why are the effects in game so overdone? Asked Jake Ava. And unnaturally looking in many cases. For example, the dust cloud created by the flattening tool is way overdone and too thick. The new shield effect is way too strong the same way. Surface harvestable look like they were hijacked from Candy Crush. The warp star field is way too pronounced, and the present, old one, yes, but still. It's too present. What? Please dial effects back. There's no need to show off all of these bright colours. They really deface the game. I agree with him. It's always a work in progress. We keep improving the effects. Some of them already are in a second version, and some of them are just in their first iteration. Even though it's not always front and center in the patch notes, we have ongoing efforts for VFX improvements. Granted, we started fairly late our work on in-game VFX, so there's still work to do. It's also a fairly subjective topic. Somebody may like them, and somebody hates them. Yeah, why don't they just ask around? Well, I think they're far too overdone as well. I think the surface rocks should just only be glowing if you have the harvesting tool in your hand. Hey, they done it with the repair tool thingy, so while I just walk around, I don't need to have all of those fucking candy pieces in all the bright colours lying around. Could really dial them down a lot, especially in the night. And you know when you want to see them? What is the only occasion when you want to see those harvestable rocks? When you are harvesting. And you know what you're doing when you're harvesting? You have the harvesting tool out. So maybe have them like now while you have the harvesting tool out. And just, you know, tone the fuck all the way down if you don't have it out. Make them look almost like the normal brown rocks. Again, they've done it with the repair tool. Alright, here comes my favourite question and my favourite answer. The question is my favourite question because it's mine. The answer has a good amount of entropy to it. Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. It takes over a week to get all your mining units calibrated close to 100% and be at the point where you only try to keep them there. After a week of absence, however, you would have to start over again. Weekend players don't even have to bother getting mining units. Do you think DU is a game for casuals, RP players, weekend warriors and others who are not playing in a regular, profit-oriented way? So, unlike me, in this case, happen to care about people who are not profit-oriented. They exist. Okay, the mining units, it's so great. Mining units do not have to be calibrated to 100% constantly or be perfectly optimized to turn a profit after territory tax. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, they have to be calibrated above 50%, of course, to turn a profit after territory tax. But they don't have to be calibrated to 100% constantly or be perfectly optimized. Good. Players can play at their own pace, and logging in once a week should be enough to keep their mining unit at a reasonable level and making money. Again, I agree. Players can play at their own pace, yeah. Also, logging in once per week should be enough to keep your mining units at a reasonable level and making money. It should be. I mean, it isn't. it clearly isn't enough, but it should be. So, entropy, we agree. It should be. So, maybe do something about it so that it's actually like that in the game. We don't expect you to calibrate your mining units every day. Well, if you don't expect me to calibrate them every day, then maybe don't make it so that you are losing charges or you can't utilize charges if you don't log in at least every 1.5 days. So, I don't know. Why make it so that my charge reservoir is full after 1.5 days if you don't really expect me to log in pretty much every day? If you're looking to maintain 5 to 6 territories and achieve the most profitability, that may require you to log in more than once a week. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Yeah, just like, if you want to convey a meaning, you may need to use more than one word. For example, or I could also say, this text has more than 4 letters. It's completely pointless, but it's absolutely correct. If you're looking to maintain 5 to 6 territories and achieve the most profitability, that may require you to log in more than once a week. That is absolutely correct. Oh. Did they all take some kind of crash course in deflecting questions and talking like a politician? I don't know what's going on here. Also, did you notice? My actual question was, do you think to use the game for casuals, RP players, weekend warriors, and others who are not playing in a regular profit-oriented way? So, which part of his answer? No. Okay. So, he didn't answer my question in any way. He glanced over my question and saw some words, and then just said what he thinks about the topic in general. Mining units don't have to be calibrated to 100% constantly, but perfectly optimized to turn a profit after territory tax. Yeah, they don't have to be at 100%, but they better be at like 60 something, otherwise you don't make a profit. So he's telling us something we already know, in a shitty way, in a rather misleading way, and also in a way that doesn't answer the question anyway. Players can play at their own pace. Yes, they are not being shot if they don't. They can play at their own pace. Correct. Logging once per week should be enough to keep your mining units at a reasonable level and making money. It should be. It isn't the case, but it should be. We all agree here. Don't expect to calibrate your mining units every day. I don't care about what you expect. Well, you put a game mechanic in there which kind of, wants people to log in every day. And the absolute pointlessness of that last question, of that last sentence there. Yeah, you may have to log in more than once per week. Woo! There's a lot of entropy in there. There's a confusion about requisitioning. Sorry, that was his spelling, not my pronunciation. Requisitioning cores of abandoned tiles. Can dynamic cores be requisitioned on tiles? It's only possible with statics. Yeah, you see why multiple people are asking there, right? So now that all boats have become an integral part of gameplay, again, are there any plans to fix the economy so we won't need them at some point? Bots are actually here to make the economy work. I mean, they are the quick fix that you put in because the economy is completely borked after the other stuff that you did. We monitor the sinks and faucets in the game. Are you sure you do? And or buying significant money faucets. And selling schematics a big sink. We don't want to get rid of those. A third type of bot orders that bots sell basic small elements and fuel. We know. We're playing the game. Selling elements is intended for newcomers. We know. I mean, it's pretty much only used in Sanctuary. And so fuel is something that could be changed if needed. Why? I mean, it's handy that there is some kind of emergency super expensive fuel on every planet should you need it. We monitor price and market activity and look at that. So, are there any plans to fix the economy so we don't need them at some point? Hello? Wave? Wave. There was a question. You already wrote the introduction to your answer. Never mind. Are players notified about construct requisitions? Expires the originally expected email warning. Yeah. As explained. Oh, I didn't even bother to put that in there. Alright, my formatting sucks. Woo! So, thanks for answering that question. Again, is there going to be a wipe of all things that are released of the game? Quanta, Construct, anything else? We explained several times that there's partials on the table. Already discussed internally, like actively, the prime idea being to use ellipses, not just 3 full stops. Like... the prime idea being to reset the economy if we can, following all changes of the beta. But we also understand that that the time players have invested in the game is precious, hence the intense debate internally. We will announce our plans in due time. We're just at a point where we can do this right now. Alright. Loads of questions and answers here. Is a Carter versus Wave. Quick fire round. Is it possible to take the gambling factor out of the mining unit system? It's always a risk factor that you cannot influence. For some areas, it is any question of the profitability of the ores and taxes. We designed the mini-game so it is more skill-based. Wait, what? What? Skill-based? I see. But there is indeed some luck involved. We do believe that some luck is a good thing in such a system. Also, there is a risk-reward mechanic. You might accept an average extracting so that you keep some battery and a normal calibration bonus. Have you done that shit? Is it possible to enable all skill points of the money units via VR? Again, it's a non-technical calculation. If you have to fly to your field, do spend a lot of time and fuel to calibrate the money units to get an economic return. See above, answering Stream Sniper. At the moment, a lot of Quanta is taken out of the game by taxes. At the same time, the VR restriction on permission prevented Quanta from coming into the game in sufficient quantity. Is this really the way it's meant to be? We are monitoring Quanta sinks and faucets. Before the meter, there were too many faucets and too few sinks. We added a new sink to U fees and reduced the faucet emissions. Balancing those is totally something that is possible in the future, but we think we went in the good direction. We believe there was too much currency in-game before Demeter. Well, mostly because of all the mission stuff that people talked about. Even before it was introduced, like when we were still on the test server, people said it's too much. But hey, they reacted a few months later. Hooray! Seems to discourage a lot of players who log in to pay the taxes. Frustration has arisen among many players. Some are moving back to Sanctuary and some are simply leaving the game and cancelling their sub. Would it be enough the headquarters could also be exempt from tax at the same time be used for industries? This would certainly make a positive difference for many players. We could consider that industry units could work on headquarter territories, if that was a pain point. Well, it is, so now please theoretically consider thinking about maybe doing it. Territorial warfare. How? When? Will we see a removal of taxes once territorial warfare kicks in? In 2025? They're not answering questions about future plans and the roadmap. Except for the ones that they did answer. Are there any plans for more events to bring players together in PvP space as they were around the late 2020s? Things such as ship events or asteroids made entirely of one type of ore as an example. How does that? Currently, interaction PvP space is almost always a one-sided fight, with no real fights between dedicated warships occurring. We have plans for more events, yes, though not specifically geared towards PvP. Some of the features that will come in 2022 will help create more opportunities for PvP. Yes, more info coming soon on the topic. We have different definitions of the word soon. Uphooks, finding the content. Currently, there was actually a line break there that I omitted. Currently, the only way to find people to shoot is either exhaustively search every broadcast asteroid, either by flying to each one or leaving it out there, or sit around in listening posts at the border of mission outposts and hope for a way to swim by. The only people who stay and discover asteroids are newbies. Everyone else discovers a bunch, immediately leave each time, then come back late in the week when they are 100 plus, and there is no way to know if someone is there. Same can be said of flying through the pipe. Now the actual questions. Is this the intended way to interact with asteroids? If not, broadcasting asteroids should move a few broadcasted asteroids should move a few as you and return the rumored list if they have not been meaningfully interacted with in a few hours. Such that leaving an AFK out there would still cause the asteroid to move and become rumored. We know we are lacking conflict drivers right now for PvP. Asteroids were never supposed to take the brunt of being most of the PvP activity in the grand view of things. We want to keep adding reasons for PvP and have at least one mainly PvP focused activity in the future. In regards to asteroids specifically, we see no issues with miners doing their best to stay safe and avoid being attacked while mining. We didn't budge when miners asked us to change the broadcast timer and they've adapted to it. Nobody's owed close to perfect knowledge of whether an asteroid is being mined or not, nor do miners have to bring valuable ship if they don't need to. Being able to drop items is something we've looked at and something that has a lot of technical limitations. Well, just don't let them delete stuff when the combat timer is on. It's something we're against from a game design point of view, but it's not easily done. This isn't something they're against, but it's not easily done. In regards to long-range detection, some form something we've considered and are not against, but there are no plans right now. So, the question was, is this the intended way to interact with asteroids? No answer. Even if you do exhaustively search every asteroid, most of the people share when throwaway ships. Have you considered making item deletion in PvP space instead spawn? And okay, no, that was actually answered. They have thought about it, but it's not easy to do. Finding someone in the middle of D-space if we didn't see them coming, essentially impossible. No risk worth rewards. Plans of adding long range imprecise. Really against, don't really have it. Who knows? Maybe. Large air brakes change the direction and you ask us to plan our ships accordingly, with the direction for them now facing up versus forward, will that match in the direction they face in their final iteration? Also, can we sink them into voxels, like we do, say, retro rocket brakes, and just allow a small hole to show through to make them valid? You don't need a small hole for retro rockets, you can just fully encase them in voxels. Right now there's something we're actively investigating so that it will feel good and fair. But we have nothing to communicate right now. Okay. While calibration minigame is definitely more entertaining than the old mining method, sitting for hours on a mega clicking mindlessly, the process is a bit time consuming and it quickly gets old, mainly waiting on the transition screens. Any thoughts on tweaking the calibration? Maybe remove the transitions or allow us to click through them. If the process is too slow, you can always skip the whole minigame to only get the basic calibration, but lose the potential calibration bonus and the extracting rocks. Skipping animation specifically is a quality of life features we could look at. So first of all, maybe they look at it. Secondly, you can skip it, but then again, in order to skip it, you have to activate the mining unit, click on calibration, bam, transition screen. So you have the little loading bar there, filling. Then you have that little animation where you see that isometric view of the square, some kind of weird scan rolling over it. And then you are actually on the actual screen where you can say that yes, you do want to start. And then if you press start, you get another transition screen. And if you wait that one out and now X away the window or click on interrupt or whatever, it asks you if you really want to do that, then you confirm and then you're actually out and it has been auto-calibrated without playing the minigame. Pro tip here, right after you click on the confirmation that you do want to calibrate, so right after the point where actually using your charge, if you, right after that, within a second, click on the X of that little window, you're skipping the dialogue, saving another important second or 5 or whatever, and don't have to wait through all of that shit. So yeah, there's a shortcut. If you only have to wait through the first animation and transition screen, and then if you confirm, quickly exit away, you don't get the confirmation box, saving valuable time of this bloody boredom. By the way, a lovely answer. It's time consuming, it gets old mainly waiting on transition screens. Answer, if you don't like it, fucking skip it. You don't have to play our game. Stop being so fucking salty. Good. When harvesting the bonus ore, it shows the name is aluminum instead of bauxite. Others are shown as bauxite, while the inconsistency is a bug. Alright. Sesh, it's a wrap. As we pointed out, we'll try to answer more questions in the upcoming days. So if they haven't been answered today, they may be in the next few days. Thank you again for being with us. That was 16 days ago. So I don't know if they want to take that out or something. But so this is the current thing here. That's really the end. So at the very bottom of this, there's nothing below it. It says, as we want to, we'll try to answer more questions in the upcoming days. They haven't been answered today. They may be in the next few days. Yeah, they may be. I mean, they weren't. Maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe at some point they will not. They should just delete that last sentence there. That thing about they are still answering questions. I think by now they should just take it out. It makes it look a bit stupid. So, unlike all the other stuff here. So what is a quick takeaway? Let me know in the comment below if any questions were actually properly answered in a way that we got new information that we didn't have before. It really starts great with that very short first one here. The new player experience is bad. Is it by design that new players have to farm surface rocks to the extent it is at right now? Is it by design that new players have to farm the surface rocks to the extent it is at right now? That is the actual question. Is it by design? Answer, we are working on a brand new first time user experience. This isn't a roadmap, but will be released next year. It will be more adapted to the recent changes to the game. Is the current surface rock farming by design? Is it intended? That was the question. Is it the current intended design? Are we missing something? Do you want new players to farm surface rocks? Do you understand the question? No, he doesn't. You're working on something that will come out eventually. It's on the road. We know. Every time we log in, we see the roadmap. Every player is aware of the roadmap. You don't have to tell us what's on the roadmap. So, thanks for telling us what is on the roadmap, mentioning that it is on the roadmap, telling us also that it will be released next year, like it says on the roadmap, and I would sure hope it's more adapted. Because if it wasn't better, then why would you put it in? Alright, come on now. Am I asking for too much? Ugh. So yeah, and that is how a Q&A is like that. We might be looking into it. That is something we could consider. Either that, or just explaining what the current mechanic is. Misunderstanding questions, or saying stuff that is just wrong. I don't know why they even bother. I mean, hey, it's on one hand, it would be nice if they did communicate with us more often. On the other hand, if you don't want to communicate, then just fuck off, mate. Either you want to communicate, then please do. Don't tell us you are communicating with us and then deflect every single question. It's just annoying. Anyway, that was NQ Q&A with Gotcha. Have a nice day. How long did that take now? Fucking hell, that's gonna take days to upload.